Welcome everyone to this evening's Joining Enlightened group to look at some desires from a movie we watched last night. Can you hear me, Renee? Okay. So let's first begin with the light of divine being and just recognize that it is always here. So we always refer to the guidance worksheet, the miracle worksheet, and I have it here. I'm being prompted to read this one paragraph. It's honesty of God to see that you are light, admit where you deny the light, and cease to deny the light by asking for a miracle. So when you join, you'll be calling to me, and you will be heard and answered, so that you can build confidence that you are indeed directed by the one who knows, the one who will demonstrate to you that all the fears, every thought, feeling, and emotion that you experience appears because you desire it, and that this need not be. And this is what this movie illustrated so well. The movie was called The Room, and it's part of our 3-week Miracles in Movie Marathon. And this movie really illustrated that when we allow desires to take us over and we don't call for help or look inward for guidance, we're not willing to face our desires and recognize that we are the author of them, then we bring on a lot of suffering. And this is kind of what was going on in this movie. Some of us joined together this afternoon and looked at some of the desires. And so I'd like to read some of them, and then we'll pray about which desire would be most useful for healing our mind and of service to the whole. So one of the desires was relishing the experience of wanting more. And another one was relishing the experience of manifesting objects and insisting that happiness comes from manifesting objects. And a similar one, relishing the experience of feeling lack and trying to fill the lack endlessly with objects in the world. And then another one, the fourth one, I'm just going to read 4 of them. Relishing, avoiding looking to see that it is all chosen experience, and we're just attempting to fulfill wishes. So let's just ask Jesus, which of these desires would be most useful for us to look at this evening to heal the mind and a service to the whole. And if you can't remember quite the phrasing or the wording, just kind of the general, anything that came up last night. I know, Renee, you watched the movie, I watched the movie.
Yeah, what I was hearing is more experience, wanting more experiences and trying to find happiness through more experiences. And then could you read the last one again?
Yeah, relishing, avoiding looking to see that it is all chosen experience. We're just attempting to fulfill wishes.
That feels like the pre-miracle. It's like, okay, this is.
I actually, when I was going down the list, I put a little star by that one because I was getting a hit on that one. Relishing, avoiding looking to see that it is all chosen experience. That what we're really attempting to do is fulfill wishes.
Mm-hmm.
Hi, Greg.
Welcome.
Welcome. So we're looking at desires from the movie last evening, Greg, and I know you were there. And the one that we're hearing right now, all the desires that we're hearing from the movie last night all had to do with wanting more and thinking we could find happiness through objects and fabulous experiences and so forth. And the one, I was looking through about 4 of these desires from the movie. Actually, I have a page and a half of them. Kay and I did these from our notes. The one that Renee and I were just both kind of getting a hit, or we were hearing a prompt on, was relishing, avoiding, looking to see that it's all chosen experience. They were making these wishes in that room, and they wanted these experiences. They were choosing that, but then they didn't want to take responsibility for what came next. Yeah. And so it was just wish fulfillment on their part, and they never did really look at, where is this all coming from and how can I stop it? So they were avoiding looking to see that it's all chosen experience, and they actually have the power to stop it. So let's just pause a moment and check in with the light and see if this is the desire we're being guided to look at.
And I just heard one more thing about pleasure and pain, and how not seeing that those are the same, that pleasure and pain are the same.
Yeah. Yeah. So Jesus, is this a desire you would have us look at for the healing of our mind and a service to the whole? And I'm hearing a yes.
See. Might have to read the desire again.
I'll read it a couple of times.
Yeah.
I've got it in writing.
Write it down. I might take a note for this too.
Yeah, and we were fully intending to get these sent off to everyone. Whoops, are you muted, Greg?
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
There you go. Okay. We were fully intending to get these sent off to everyone this afternoon, and without going into all the beautiful story, it didn't happen.
Yeah.
So let's look at the desire for relishing, avoiding, looking to see that it's all chosen experience. Let's look at the relishing of avoiding seeing that everything we experience is chosen experience. Yeah, I admit I really relish avoiding taking any responsibility for what happens to me.
Me too.
Mhm.
Me too.
I hear that I'm willing to look, but am I willing to have a miracle? It's like, do
Yes.
I really want to see this differently, or do I want to continue to hold on to this? And I hear I want to hold on to it at the moment. So. There's a pleasure in the choice, the seeming choice I have.
There's certainly a part of my mind that really rebels at thinking some of the experiences, which of course I judge as good or bad, are all chosen, that are all that occur because I ask for them. That kind of irritates me. It actually makes me pretty angry sometimes.
Mm. I would just, like in the movie, they're not taking responsibility, and so that's how that's what kind of brings about the manifestation of the baby, the wish for the baby, for a character.
Mm-hmm.
To distract from seeing the choice, and then seeing how it came from the room rather than from the choice. Everything was coming from the room rather than the room made me do it. It was like the scapegoat. The devil made me do it.
Yeah, my room is all kinds of things that I think happen to me that I have no control over, whatever that is. I'm also hearing that I have a belief that there's a certain scariness in stopping and looking within for where that the cause might be here in my own mind. There's a scary, I'm like, what?
Mhm.
Yeah, he's talking, I'm hearing that there's just such relishing of looking for happiness and pleasure and enjoyment in things and objects and experiences that I have nothing to do with. They're just happenstance.
Also in the movie, you see the play with her where she can't have a baby, so she can't have what she wants. And then she also, has that desire for that. And so you see both sides of it, that she can't have it, she can't have what she wants, and she gets what she wants, and it's the same.
Hmm. Yeah, I know here it's really tough to make that connection between what shows up or what appears in my life and that desire for it. That desire, especially for what I consider negative experiences, is buried so deep. I don't want to admit that somehow I bid that. I asked it. I asked for that experience. That's pretty deep.
Mhm.
So much easier to blame God or blame somebody else.
Can see how important it is to stay focused and not allow any exceptions to this, to looking at this.
Jesus, what value do we put on this desire to avoid taking responsibility for whatever shows up in our lives? There's a false sense of freedom, like, oh, well, it's not my fault. I don't have to worry about it. Is anyone hearing anything from Jesus about the value we place on this desire to avoid looking at any responsibility for what happens in our lives?
I hear yes on freedom, and I hear power.
Yeah, what I'm hearing is there's a false sense of being in control.
Mhm. Yeah, I have an advantage.
Hmm.
It gives me an advantage.
Because we must value it. We must value this desire. Or we wouldn't, yeah, we wouldn't be admitting to it. We wouldn't keep hanging on to it.
I also hear specialness.
What's that?
Specialness.
Oh, I notice how much I love feeling helpless, like out of control, and try to, all by myself, quote unquote, trying to manage stuff so that I'm back in control and therefore have some sense of well-being or peace.
I also hear like the dominance.
What's that now?
Dominance,
Yeah, what, how are you seeing that? What are you hearing?
like a for the value, for valuing. There's like a dominance.
Over God?
Yeah, I hear overcreation.
Jesus, are we holding or releasing with this desire? I'm hearing there's definitely some holding going on. For me, I don't want to take, it's just, especially when it involves sickness or not feeling well or whatever, I don't want to take responsibility for that. Somehow it's a desired experience. It's like loving being a victim. I can see the relishing too with this desire of, it kind of lets me off the hook. If I'm not responsible for anything, then it doesn't really matter in one sense, what I do, because something's going to happen. Something's going to happen to me. It's like really wanting to, on the one hand, abandon responsibility, and on the other hand, keep trying to manage for it, manage to keep myself happy.
What I hear is what meaning are we giving to taking responsibility? what's the, where is the holding in that? Like that, if we're taking responsibility for our decision, like what is there to see around that?
What I'm hearing is that I don't think I don't want to be, there's a part of my mind that thinks that it's not responsible for bad things that happen to me. Maybe I'm partially responsible for good things happening to me, but not the bad things. I don't want those. So I'm avoiding below my level of awareness any looking at where there's a connection between whatever it is that I judge as difficult and I don't want, and a buried desire for it. And there's also, although I don't know that I fully get this, there also seems to be a relishing of these difficult experiences, like really finding excitement in it and even pleasure, which is kind of hard to fathom sometimes when I'm sick.
I'm hearing to see other people relishing when other people are in pain and it's not me.
Yeah.
Mhm. Mhm. The donkey chorus. So I don't know, Jack.
And I still don't think I'm responsible for anybody else's pain. Jesus, is there any desire to see this differently? Are we willing to have you reinterpret this desire for us to avoid taking responsibility for what happens in our lives?
I hear a big yes.
So funny how these yeses come forth sometimes for no reason. You know, there's a part of the mind that's going, no.
Yes.
I just see the contrast, between the desire, like the choice, which is like the pleasure pain cycle, in contrast with the light, and how the pleasure pain, is
Are you going to finish that sentence?
uh, well, I'm asking what's most helpful because I um, I want to only say what is coming from a non-personal.
Yeah.
So if it starts to feel like it's coming from a personal place, then that's normally when I stop. So sometimes I might stop mid-sentence because it's like I start to see that where it's coming from, and then it's not helpful.
Yeah. Just saying that's very helpful to know, to have you hear that you're stopping, and then, oh, you're stopping because you're recognizing that it's coming from not divine expression. Jesus, what value is there in hanging on to not taking responsibility for what happens out of the recognition that it's our beliefs and desires?
And also, Mary, the desire has kind of morphed. We started with avoiding looking to see that it is all chosen experience, and it's kind of morphed into something else. So I just wanted to.
Yeah, I don't see that. I don't hear that. We've kind of included some stuff, but I still feel very focused on the desire to avoid being responsible for what shows up out of buried desires and beliefs. So let's ask again, are we ready to see this differently and have Jesus reinterpret this for us? I'd like it reinterpreted. There's a desire to have it reinterpreted. This avoiding taking responsibility for what shows up. I keep hearing there's got to be a better way than just running away from taking responsibility.
A desire for separation instead of joining. responsibility, yes.
And what?
And not being responsible, like cherishing the separation of being separate and not doing everything I can to make it whole or to join in the chaos.
Yeah, through choice. That's what I hear. I want to join through choice. I want to have a choice and join at the same time. I can't have both.
Yes.
So Jesus, are we ready for a miracle in this desire to avoid looking to see that it's all chosen experience, all just wish fulfillment? I'd like to see it differently.
Mhm. Yeah.
Let's look again in the light and see if we're holding or releasing. Feels lighter, it feels less intractable, like, oh, there's no way. Now it feels like, yeah, I would like a reinterpretation of this. There's got to be a better way.
Yeah, I hear that there's release.
Well, thank you, infinite light of being, and thank you, mighty companions, for this looking and willingness to join, to see what's true. And what I'm hearing is that sometimes in looking, I'm like, well, did anything change? But did I do, it was released? And there's just, there's an awareness that keeps going, that the looking has brought about a release that I may not be fully aware of in the moment. So thank you. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll be joining Monday evening with Elliot and then Tuesday and Thursday with Renee. So we'll continue to look at this, and then we have a movie next Saturday night, The Shack. And we'll be looking at the desires from that, but this whole week, and we will get this sent off to you. I have a printout, I know it exists, of all the desires from this movie, The Room. Really some interesting stuff. Okay, see you tomorrow, maybe.
Bye.
Thank you.
Bye. Love you all.
Love you.
Bye.